Hello everybody and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be looking at the 2024 electoral map and making some predictions for it. This isn't a normal video on my channel where I do predictions and election nights and such, but today we're just going to be looking at the map, and at the end of the video I'm going to ask you guys to suggest what you want to see in future election night videos for 2024. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to label all these safe Republican seats that I don't expect to be contested much at all, if at all, in 2024. These are states that will comfortably go to the Republicans unless something absolutely drastic happens between now and 2024. And then so that overall that puts the Republicans at 116 electoral votes that are safely in their column. As for the Democrats, their safe states, California, Oregon, and Washington across the West Coast, obviously. I'm struggling to whether or not to choose New Mexico as a likely or a safe Democratic state. For the 2020 election, it would be a likely Democratic state. 2024, I honestly think at that point, it could easily be labeled a safe Democratic state, and thus I'm going to go with it. Minnesota is sort of the same, but I'm going to let it slide as more of a contested seat than state than New Mexico. New York as well will be a safe Democratic state, and in Vermont, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, and Washington, D.C. So that actually puts the Democrats at 185 electoral votes to the Republicans' 116. So starting out from left to right with the contested races, in Nevada, it's always tough to call Nevada. They're an extremely tough state historically to predict and to conduct polls in, actually. So it's hard to say, but I'm going to go, just because of that, I'm going to go with lean Democrat. In Arizona, in 2020, it's an effective toss-up. Nobody can really tell what's going to happen there in 2020. I think it would be a tilt Democratic state in 2024, a tilt that could maybe shift into lean if the demographics continue to trend in the Democrats' favor there. In the state of Colorado, I would go likely Democrat. In all honesty, same in Minnesota. I think both of these states are trending more and more blue in recent years, and I don't see a very likely scenario in which Republicans are able to pick up either of those seats. As for the state of Texas, it's no secret that the state is getting closer and closer in previous elections, and if Democrats do a better job of campaigning there and actually spend a lot of money there, which they haven't really needed to or wanted to do in previous presidential elections, there's definitely a good chance that it could be an effective toss-up. But until then, I'd still categorize it as a tilt Republican state. In Iowa, I would go lean Republican, just because Iowa's a tough state to call. Usually it's trending more conservative, that's for sure, but I'd still categorize it as a lean. I'm going to leave Wisconsin until the end because I actually think that it's going to be the tightest race in 2024, no matter what. In the state of Ohio, similarly to Iowa, it is a state that is trending a lot more conservative in recent years, but it's a crucial swing state that is going to be at one of, if not one of the most focused on states in basically every presidential election for the foreseeable future. So it's going to be competitive no matter what. In Michigan, I would categorize Michigan as a lean Democratic state. Despite it going to Donald Trump in 2016, it's still a state that trends more democratically historically, and thus I think in 2024 as well, if Donald Trump is reelected in 2020, I think we can anticipate a pretty big blue wave in 2024, just because that's basically how politics works. But even if Biden wins in 2020 and chooses not to run for reelection in 2024, or if he does run for reelection in 2024, I'd have to categorize Michigan as a lean Democratic state no matter what. In Pennsylvania, it's really just a 50-50 state overall, no matter what. But just because it does tilt normally a little bit more in the Democratic column in recent presidential elections, I'm going to have to go with tilt Democrat there, especially if Biden is the nominee in 2024 again. It's more likely to go blue than red. In the state of Virginia, I'm torn between likely and lean in Virginia. I can't quite categorize it the same as Colorado, though, can I? But I also kind of can. In Virginia, it's a state that's definitely trending more and more blue pretty rapidly in previous elections. So yeah, I actually do have some confidence in saying that it's a likely Democratic state. And look at that, it puts the Democrats at 269 electoral votes to the Republicans 180. In the state of North Carolina, I'd actually go tilt Republican there, just because it's a tough state for Democrats to win. Even with demographics and a wave in their favor, it'll be a tough state to fully flip, and I think it would honestly depend on the nominee. But yeah, I'll go tilt Republican there. In South Carolina, the only reason I didn't categorize it as a safe Republican state was because the political landscape there is just shifting so rapidly. There's no real telling what's going to happen there. But I'd still categorize it as a likely Republican state just because we don't know enough to really make a call there. In the state of Georgia, it's also an extremely hard race to call in 2024, but I'm going to go with tilt Republican just because it's a lot safer to say that Republicans can win there than Democrats can, even though by 2024 there's a good chance we'll see it be one of, if not the closest race in the election cycle. In Florida, I'm also going to go with tilt Republican just because it seems a lot more likely if Biden doesn't win in 2020, or even if he won and chose not to run for re-election in 2024, that the Democrats will probably nominate someone a lot more progressive to their ticket, and that's something that Florida voters have rejected time and time again, and especially with the older electorate there. I think if it's a more progressive nominee in 2024 for the Democrats, I think it'll be hard for them to win in the state of Florida. In the state of New Hampshire, I'd go lean Democrat. It was the second tightest state, I believe, in the 2016 election. It was really close there, but I think it's trending towards the Democratic column. Especially, it's historically it's a hard state for Republicans to win, entrenched in the Northeast political landscape. It's an uphill battle for them to climb there. In the state of Maine, I think it's the statewide 2 electoral votes, I think, are likely Democrat. The first district, safe Democrat. In the second district, it's tough to say, but I think with a more progressive candidate in 2024, I think it's also an area that is more likely to trend a little bit more Republican. It's an extremely rural part of the country, so I think I'm gonna go tilt Republican there. In Wisconsin, I've been struggling leading up to this to call the state of Wisconsin, just because it's got so many factors that influence elections there. I'm tempted to just keep it as a toss-up, but I know that's going to be hated on. I really just want to make a call in general. I think just because Trump won in 2016 and it's a state that's trending more Republican, I'm going to go with tilt Republican there in Wisconsin, and I think that is how I'm going to end things for this video. 276 to 262, extremely tight. 2024, it's really going to come down to who the nominee is for the Democrats and who the nominee is for the Republicans, and whether or not Trump is reelected in 2020, because if he is, there's a much higher chance that there will be a bounce back blue wave in 2024 than if he were to lose. in 2020. So we'll see what happens. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this new sort of style, and let me know what you think. Also, please comment any ideas you have for future 2024 election predictions, like any candidates you would like to see predicted and included in a video. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe, especially if you're new, and check out more content on our channel. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.